Can you explain the difference between affects and effects, and what is a Nepo baby? So let's have a look. Affects is the verb, effects is the noun. So if I put it in really short sentences, I can say flying affects me, right? So when I fly, here's my verb, flying affects me, and vomiting is the effect. This makes this one a noun, because here's our verb here. What is a Nepo baby? Nepo comes from nepotism, and nepotism means the practice among those with power or influence favouring relatives, friends, or associates by giving them jobs. Now, some people cite this one as an example. So we have the actress Maya Hawke, who was in Stranger Things. She is the daughter of actors Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. Nepo baby is an example of neologism, new terms, and affects and effects is an example of just tricky words that you come across. This lesson is how to upgrade your analysis. And what's in this lesson? Ways to upgrade your analysis, changing a lengthy analysis example to writing concisely and the 5 steps that are needed to do that. Better adjectives and adverbs, trying to use those. Confusing word pairs like affects and effects, and using popular media terms like neologisms, like Nepo baby, knowing what they are, because if you strike one of those or a couple of those in your analysis text and you only have a print dictionary, often you cannot find the exact definition. Most relevant study design dot points, extending individual capacity to use language confidently and applying relevant meta-language. Ways to upgrade your analysis. I think one really, really strong way that you can do this and readily available is to read previous VCE English external examination or assessment reports published by VCAR, as they offer you advice and examples on how to improve your analysis, and it's just such a worthwhile thing to do. Now, there's a link attached to the 2023 VCE English External Assessment Report at the bottom of this slide. And even though it's not the sample exam, it's last year's exam or 2023's exam, there's still such heaps of valuable stuff in there for you to use. Another way to upgrade is to learn to write concisely. Another way, work on improving your vocab. This should be a constant thing. Reading media texts, knowing popular media terms, compiling your own lists of words. For example, verbs to use in your analysis, contention verbs, how verbs, audience impact verbs, lots of things like that. And useful adjectives and adverbs to use as well. Learn templates you wish to use to better your structure or to better structure your analysis. And then remember, design your own based on really good examples you or your teacher have found. Also understand the difference between commonly used word pairings. This is just something students who read a lot generally know, but you can take a bit of a shortcut here. Remember, practice using a hard copy dictionary under timed conditions well before the SAC and well before the exam. How to write concisely. Writing concisely means being able to make 2 or 3 analysis points in one sentence. It means avoiding writing too many sentences that begin with this or then. In order to do this, you need to learn how to combine 2 or 3 persuasive strategies or language techniques in the same sentence and link them to audience impact. You need to delete unnecessary or repeated words and to use a conjunction to replace this or the or a relative pronoun who. Conjunctions are words that connect parts of sentences. For example, which or what. Let's look now here at this lengthy analysis example, and you want to try to avoid this. Okay, so this is the example we want to try to avoid. Why do we want to try to avoid it? Well, let's find out how many sentences it uses, persuasive strategies, points about impact, how many times this is used to start the sentence. Okay. Commissioner Gordon employs a list of benefits of regulating gun legislation, including equal police in Australian states, control of number of automatic weapons and saving lives. He also uses a comparison with the United States gun current statistics on gun-related deaths. This is likely to generate fear among his listeners. This may encourage listeners to question any changes to current gun laws. So we have 4 sentences. We have how many persuasive strategies? So we have a list. He uses a comparison and current gun statistics. 3. How many points about audience impact generate fear amongst his listeners and encourage listeners to question changes? 2. How many times is this used to start sentences? The last 2. Okay, so we have 4 sentences, 3 persuasive strategies, 2 points about audience impact, and twice we've used this to start sentences. So let's look at that same example and now look at 5 steps to writing concisely. 1. Select the words to be deleted because you've got too many extra words there. So here we've got, okay, we can get rid of, this is our lengthy example, we can get rid of employs, we can get rid of he also uses, get rid of the thises, and we can push our things together so we only need one reference to the audience. So we select words we want to get rid of. We join language techniques, persuasive strategies. We rewrite the persuasive strategy or language technique as an adverb if we can. And we replace this or the with a conjunction. Now remember our conjunctions, who, which. And we smooth over expression. We always have to do that. So we had that really lengthy one and we changed that now to Commissioner Gordon combines, so that means we're going to talk about more than one, a list of the benefits, including, and we've got our quote there, with a comparison, there's our second one, to the United States current statistics on gun-related deaths, which is, so we've gotten rid of this and we've added a conjunction, which is likely to generate fear, so that was one of our audience impacts, among listeners who may question, there's our other one, any changes to current Australian gun laws. So we've changed this 4-sentence one, gotten rid of the thises, extra words, changed it into, it's a lengthy 1-sentence one, but it is more concisely written. Do you have to do that every sentence? No, you don't have to squish 3 or 4 points in every sentence, but you don't want to use a separate sentence for every single point. Now it's your turn. Remember, here are our 5 steps to writing concisely. Select words to be deleted. Join language techniques, persuasive strategies. Rewrite persuasive strategy or language techniques as an adverb. Replace this or that with a conjunction. Smooth over expression. Here's our lengthy example. Scientist Marvel uses repetition of a rhetorical question throughout his speech. This rhetorical question is, can we do more? He thumps his hand on the lectern when he repeats the question. This may manipulate his audience into adopting his offered plan for the homeless. Use the 5 steps to rewrite that example as concisely as you can. Okay, so to rewrite this one concisely, we can look at repetition. So we can change this one actually to an adjective, not an adverb. Repeated rhetorical question, meaning he says it more than once. Then we've got our quote, accompanied by So we've added our technique, our audio-visual one, thumping his hand on the lectern. So we've got a gesture there. So we've got two. So we've got there and there. May manipulate his audience into adopting his offered plan for the homeless. So you can see we've gotten rid of this. We've put our persuasive strategies together and we've turned one of the language techniques into an adjective. Another way to upgrade your analysis is to learn and use adjectives and adverbs in your analysis as well. So remember, the adjectives describe nouns, the adverbs describe verbs. So when we look through here, if we look through adjectives first, we can see the noun is conclusion, and we may say it's a logical conclusion, given, of course, what we have said in our analysis. An author may have a passionate stance. The statistics may be alarming statistics. An ominous or a dire warning is a very, very serious one. Or an authoritative explanation or argument will often come from an expert. Serious concern, a blatant admission where someone states categorically, this is what I'm admitting to. Contrasting images, you might have two visuals and they actually contrast one another. Say that. Relentless, significant opposition. So maybe someone has written something in response to an earlier article and they have systematically ticked off or negated everything that person has said. Like-minded readers, fellow followers, things like that. Like-minded, like we expect that they will understand and agree with our point of view. Adverbs, of course, describe verbs. So we have lots of our good verbs here. Analysis verbs, strongly contends, passionately argues. You see most adverbs end in ly. Rationally asserts, repeatedly states. This is using repetition. Logically suggests. Note that logical is the adjective, logically is the adverb. Emphatically claims, like someone is really strong. Bluntly states. Satirically or cynically mock. Inclusively addresses, uses inclusive language. Enthusiastically promotes. Nostalgically, back in the old days, opines, give their opinions. There's loads of these ones. You don't have to learn all of them. If you're a reader, you'll know lots of them already. But sometimes you have to prompt yourself to use them, and not always the same ones, and perhaps the most obvious ones. An activity for you to do now, can you explain the difference in meanings between the word pairs by completing this table? Okay, so let's look at the first one. Practice, and practice with an S. Practice with a C as a noun and the S is a verb. I must attend basketball practice, that's the noun. The type of practice is basketball. I must practice my basketball skills every day. This is our verb, a doing word. Device or device, same thing. C is noun, S is verb. I need to buy a new data storage device. Okay, so here's our noun. I will devise a plan. I'll make up a plan for you to achieve great results. That's our verb. Principal and principal, often confused. One way, you remember that the head of the school is your pal, principal. Whether that's true or not is up to you. They're both nouns. The principal, PLE, is a basic truth, a law or a policy. Good and well. Very interesting, this one, and often wrongly used. Good is an adjective. So it needs to describe a noun. So the team is a noun. So the good team played well. Okay? Well is an adverb saying how they played. The team played well. Okay? It's wrong to say that the team played good. Okay? We don't say that. It's incorrect. Complement and compliment, one with an E and one with an I. What's the difference there? They both can be used as verbs and nouns. Complement COMPLEMENT, is anything which completes or makes something whole. So you can say the visual, or well, we say the photograph for an example of the visual, the photograph of the dogs on the street complements the author's argument, blah, blah, blah. Complement with an I, COMPLIMENT, is an expression of praise or respect. So you can compliment someone, verb or noun, about their achievements. Useful popular media terms. This is a bit of an A to Z, just on terms popular in the media. Sometimes you cannot find really good definitions in the dictionary, sometimes you can, and sometimes they're used differently. What you should do when you have time is just go through this list and see how first of all, how many you know without even looking up, and imagine, well, gosh, what if I got these in an analysis task? You know, they might actually represent a key point or a pivotal point that needs analysing. What would you do if you didn't know what they meant? Skip them, I suppose. But just looking at it really, really quickly, there are some new ones here. We had Nepo baby before. Alt is one you see more and more now, short for alternative and often used as a prefix, like an alt result, an alt option, lots of different things that way. Also, too, we have allusions, like we spoke about in a previous lesson, referring to a figure or something from another text. So, you know, the implication of a Herculean task means it's very difficult, very tough. Okay, things like that you might not just automatically know. The Lazarus effect is another one of these. And so I think it's good just to have a look, make sure you know what does it mean to wave the white flag. Like you might think you know, but if you actually have to analyse it and talk about it, what are you going to say? Who are naysayers? They've appeared a lot in the last few years in sample texts and things like that. So really interesting, I think, and there are loads more. This is just a small sample, but I think it's probably indicates to you, well, gee, maybe I need to do a bit more reading. So in a nutshell, how do you upgrade your analysis? Number one, read previous VCE English external examination or assessment reports published by VCAR. That's a must. Learn to write concisely. Doesn't have to be every sentence, but mix it up a bit. Improve your vocabulary by reading media texts, knowing popular media terms, compiling your own lists of words to use in analyses. Learn templates that you wish to use to better your structure and analysis. You'll move off them soon enough once you're confident. Make sure you understand the meanings of commonly used difficult word pairings. Stick to those commonly ones. Okay, coming up, Section 4, Point of View Oral Presentation.